Hey man, how's it going?
Good, you? Howdy
Oh,
doodly.
I was gonna say you forgot. Howdy doodly.
Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
I don't remember now because it's been like
It's
three
been a couple of
weeks.
weeks. Yeah, been a couple of weeks since we were able to do this again. So, yeah, welcome back, of course, to another episode of the Bite My Shiny Metal cast, where we talk about Futurama. Today's episode 5 of season 2. I second that emotion. Now, we also discussed on a number of occasions, both on and off the cast. This is also, I believe, the first episode that they consider to be the beginning of second season now, or something.
Yeah,
Um,
according to Wikipedia.
according to Wikipedia, so beginning of season 2, but not in error time. So anyway, welcome in. Second that emotion, and yeah, actually, I really enjoyed this episode. A lot of fun little things that we see that come up future episodes as well, and things that were kind of brought back from the past, so they're kind of redoing some stuff again. That's kind of nice. But we get into our cold open of this, and it's not a cold open we're familiar with. This is kind of
Commercial style.
yeah, but it's not even like a commercial inside the Futurama universe because it's referencing Futurama as a product. So it's this what is this Glagnar's
Human
human
rinds.
human rinds.
Yeah,
Potato
like pork
potato
rinds.
chips, maybe pork rinds. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, human rinds, pork rinds. Okay, I'd never really eat pork rinds myself, so I never.
They're not bad. They're not as good as potato chips, but they're not
Sure,
bad. If you're looking to take out carbs in your life,
go
pork
for
rinds
pork
will do that
rinds.
job. Yeah, because it's mostly protein
Oh, I see.
ish. Yeah.
Sure. Hence the reason for human rinds, right? So you have like this giant green alien
Looks
eating
like a hammerhead shark would basically be the best way with four arms.
right, and it's green, isn't it? Some kind of green
No,
creature
green
thing.
green hammerhead hammerhead style
Right,
and forearms.
eating a bag of
Human
human
rinds.
rinds. So that's literally it. That's just kind of our cold open. I guess it's maybe referencing the idea of like commercials or commercialism, maybe, or maybe it's just like a small side joke. Hard to say. But the when we get into the intro of the actual episode, the tag, I guess, at the beginning there is like made from meat byproducts. So maybe there was some kind of reference to that. Hard to say, but that's the idea. And then we also get, after the episode starts, we get introduced to something called kibbles and snouts, which is of course a play on kibbles and bits for the pets, because this is a very pet heavy um, episode when it comes to Nibbler.
Nibbler.
So we um we get this little intro, yeah, like Salila's setting up his breakfast, I guess, and the kibbles and
It's a
snouts.
big can. It's like a human torso size can
Yeah.
of kibbles and bits.
And they have a
Kibbles and snouts.
can opener the size of like part of the wall that's apparently magnetic as well.
Right next to the fridge. I
Right.
like that it has like you remember we both worked at Home Depot, and in the back area there was like a cardboard crusher, and of course because
Yeah.
caution and all these reasons and stuff, the floor always had like that yellow paint on it, like watch out zone. It
Like
has
if
it has that
you're
for the can,
for the
like
can, right?
it's a yeah the can opener, the giant can opener has like a do not go zone painted on the floor, which I love.
Right. And it's yeah, it's like one of those ones like only one person's allowed to be near the machine at a time. The other people have to be
Yeah,
behind the yellow
yeah.
line. Yeah. So a can opener has this kind of security thing, which of course Bender doesn't realize as he's like walking in, and then he gets, because he's a metal robot, obviously, he gets sucked into it and he gets cut up. This I guess Leela gets to him quite quickly, so he only like loses part of his head. But he's okay. But he doesn't like Nibbler. Like this is established from the beginning. He's just like he's not a fan of Nibbler, and it goes to say that he's also afraid of can openers.
Yeah, because it killed his father, and now he's coming back for
Right.
me. Or now the can opener is coming back for Bender.
But then we also learn a little bit later in the series, right? This is also to do with his his inhibition, um, or not his inhibition, I guess it's his desire to want to be a folk singer, but it's pushed back with his
Yeah,
inhibition unit
it
or
it,
whatever,
it,
got the
it, co- it
magnets.
comes out whenever
Right.
he's magnetized, he wants to be a folk singer, which
Yes.
does come in later next season, I believe.
Yeah, one with Beck, right? So he does
Yeah.
have that in there. So he gets caught in the magnet. He doesn't start singing yet because I think Leela gets to him, but then he drops. And then yeah, but he's definitely upset with Nibbler. He's never liked Nibbler, and it's due to the fact that he's jealous of the attention that Nibbler
Yes,
tends to.
I love it. Yeah, there's a little joke earlier on when Nibbler's eating all the kibbles and snouts, and Leela's like, "Oh, looks like someone likes kibbles and snouts," and then
Yeah,
Fry goes, "Is
someone
it
like
me?" She's like,
snouts.
"No,
Yeah, right. Fry's good old like, oh me.
yeah, me."
Um, and this is also something interesting as well to say that so Nibbler, because you and I, of course, with the gift of knowledge of the future, we know who Nibbler is, and majority, I'm sure, of people who watch the show because they've watched it for years, it's been out. People know Nibbler is actually intelligent, but
Yeah,
he's
spoiler alert.
right, but he's absolutely like fitting in with this animal pet, like dumb little pet kind of situation. So it's
It's
funny
his
just to see that
disguise,
his cover,
his
yeah,
his cover. Yeah,
his cover for it. So Bender gets upset with Nibbler. Nibbler decides to bite him on the ass, and he chips his fang.
breaks a tooth. Yeah,
Yeah,
breaks a fang.
unfortunately. So they have to take him to an animal clinic, and I love this. I love this vet. I don't think we ever see him again, but he's just he's so over the top because there's like every single animal exists somewhere in this veterinary clinic, and I think he has like he had to deal with gazelles. There's like a tiger or something or a jaguar in the back.
Yeah,
Um, and we also get the first appearance of I mean this is like I can't remember how far in the future. This is probably third or fourth season, but there's the cat owner who owns a weird human
yeah.
pet.
Basically, picture a person holding a cat and petting it. Now reverse the species. There's now a cat person holding
A
a person
human
cat.
person cat, and it's like a weird,
Yeah, it's
it's
yeah.
really weird, but we see this character again. Like they come
Yeah,
back.
but like, to kind of back to defend it a little bit, there's
Mhm.
hairless cats out there, and they're the weirdest looking creatures ever, in my opinion, and
Sure.
people love those.
Oh yeah, I don't think it's so much about the fact that it's a hairless human. I think it's the fact that it's a human. I think
Yeah,
that's what's
yeah,
weird.
yeah. That's the joke.
But yeah, exactly. That's the joke for it. Especially when you see like somebody like petting their cat, and then right next to them is a cat petting a small human that's not a human.
Yeah,
It's really weird. But yeah, we see a couple of these things, so it's fun to see that. So yeah, they bring Nibbler into the vet to help him with his fang, and a fun little joke there is that so Bender desires to like just get rid of Nibbler. He has no empathy, no sympathy for anybody as of yet, and he's going to kill Nibbler, I guess, because I think he's gonna have to put him down. Fun little
yeah.
joke, small little
Oh
joke.
no, doctor, you're saying you have to put him down. Here, let me
What?
get that for you.
No.
Then he breaks a bottle of goose laxative, and then
Gross.
tries to like tries to shank him. But then Leela takes off his arm, which his arms are detachable, but they don't get detached easy. But for some reason, she detaches it, and this is what bothers me as an animation perspective,
Yeah.
because I've been called on this stuff, and I actually have notes for my recent work. I have to do this for lip sync. So she takes off his arm, and she starts banging the arm that's holding the shiv, and you hear from Bender, but
But
his
Bender doesn't
mouth
actually
isn't moving.
talk, right?
His
Yeah.
mouth isn't moving.
Right.
So either his arms are sentient and sound like Bender,
Sure.
or it's just an animation mistake. They're like, who cares? It's just him grunting.
Yeah, I think it's him like his mouth is being like the same, and then
Still,
it's going.
it's yeah, the lip sync.
Yeah.
There's no lip sync.
Right. Because there's not much you can do with it. I guess you go like it opens slightly, or like he does like
Well, his
the
mouth is different because it's
yeah
a
the
digital mouth, right?
right,
So
and it has
I
like
don't know.
the things there. So maybe it's just like, but you're right. Yeah, it is kind of weird to see that, but yeah, you kind of have the idea it's the arm making the noise, but the arm shouldn't be doing that. But yes, but this also does play in later because he's obviously he's detachable and he can still do things with his detachable limbs, which is interesting because it comes up a
Yeah,
few times in the
yeah.
episode.
It comes with
So
future and in the future too. Yeah.
yeah, oh yeah, like that's like the kind of well, even in the very first episode that happens, right? Like he puts his arm back without without having his arms, without having
Right, yeah,
like control of
because
his
he's
arm.
like I can bend whatever I want, who I want, and stuff like that. Because
Right.
him and Fry were escaping, and then his arms
That's
fall
right.
off. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like
Looks
bends
like
it, and it's
someone needs to
yeah,
bend this unbendable grate, and it just opens up.
it's like oh,
Oh,
Um, so yes, and then the vet, yeah, vet has the joke of having like a lot of animals in the back to fix the tooth, right, to fix his fang. Um,
Right, right. And then that's when you hear the
that's
jaguar,
the
and
jaguar
then
kicks his own
off
tooth
screen you hear all
out.
the noise, and he's like, "Oh, I was trying to get it from the jaguar, but then the gazelle kicked my tooth out, so now I'll replace it with that."
And as we'll come to see, so this is also another thing for the future us because we know what happens, but like knowing Nibbler and how old Nibbler actually is, but then having this like tooth, but the vet does say like if he's anything like the common tree, so I feel like this
If
is very strange for people to have like because before you would have known, you would have thought like oh Nibbler is actually a pet and he's
yeah,
actually five, but he's not he's nothing
three,
like a tree,
three.
right? No, he's five. It's five. The
Is
vet
it?
says like, yeah, because the friend's like, oh, you're gonna need like a genius to count all these lines. He's like, he's five. It's five, believe me. And they have like his fifth birthday or whatever. The funny
Oh
thing
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
though,
five.
if they do this, if he looks at the tooth or whatever, and Fry actually was right, he's like, oh, you need a genius to count all these lines. That actually is closer to Nibbler's real age. So it's a
What?
fun little thing there. Well, because Nibbler's
Five?
is thousands of years old, right? So he's like, yeah,
Right, right. And the vet did say, "Well, I am still a little woozy from
was he
getting
from the
kicked in the
gazelle?
head
Right?
from the
Yeah.
gazelle kick, but if he's anything like the common tree, which like are humans anywhere related to trees? I don't think so.
Well, this and it's Nibbler, this weird pet thing, right? Like this weird creature.
Yes.
Nobody even knows what
Yeah.
this creature is. But
Three-eyed pet.
but the idea that they're like, you know what, we're just gonna say he's 5 years old just because the vet said that maybe he's like a tree or enough like a tree. But anyway, so they do it. They have fun, right? They just have a little party, and um, this is interesting. I don't know if this is ever really explained in Futurama. Maybe they'll do this in the future with the new series. But there's a new birthday song that does pop up quite a bit throughout the series. Um, like
I
what
I
day
think
is
the reason, yeah,
today? Yeah, like
today
is it because
is
they can't
his
get the
birthday.
rights to Happy
Yes.
Birthday? Is that
Okay.
actually it?
Until yes, this is a fun fact. Until
Yeah.
recently, the Happy Birthday song was copyrighted by Warner Brothers.
No way.
And
Huh.
I don't think they ever legally went after people or something like that, but just like rather than having to deal with that, people would do their own birthday songs and stuff like that, which is why when you look at the stuff through like the 90s and early 2000s and even a little bit in the teens of the 2000s,
Uh-huh.
they always they would just do like oh and happy birthday to you kind of thing, like they
Right.
would do to finish the song and stuff like that. So and I think recently, like within the last 2 years or something, I don't know what the time frame is. Was it Warner Brothers? I think it was Warner Brothers. They're like, okay, whatever, it's now free rent, it's now free, we're not
Have at
gonna,
her. Right. Yeah.
yeah, have
So
at her.
I didn't know you could actually own that song.
Royalty free.
Royalty
Yeah,
free.
well,
Yeah.
they did that back in like the 30s or something like that. It was a long fucking time ago.
That's incredible. So like so for every birthday party that you and I ever had when we were growing up and every other person since that time,
Yeah,
if they had
they legally
known,
could have
we
come
would have had
with
to
like a
pay
cease and
them.
desist or something like that. Yeah,
Interesting. Okay, yeah, because
yeah.
I was always wondering that, and I was like, "What day is today?" And it's funny to see that as well because they kind of play on that joke. Because Fry, even though he knows the new song, because he sings along with them, so it's been enough time that he's
Well,
learning it.
it's the exact same notes. It's the exact same song, just different words.
Happy birthday to you. What day? No, it's
What
not. It's a
day
different
is
tune.
today? It's
No, it's a different
what day?
tune. It's
Well,
what
it's
day
very
is
similar.
today?
It's very
Today,
similar.
it's your birthday. It's happy birthday to you. It's a very different tune.
It's very similar though. It's very similar.
Well, it's easy enough for people to pick up, I guess. But even then, Bender, or sorry, not Bender, Fry has learned it, but he's not he's not smart enough to realize like the little joke thing that you could do at the original Happy Birthday, and you
You
smell like
smell
one
like a
too.
monkey,
Right.
and
He still
you
adds
look like
that
a
on.
monkey. Is it you look like a
You
monkey
look
or
like a
you?
monkey and smell like one too. Yeah, but he just does, and you smell like one too, because that's like the end of the song, right? Um, but yeah, there's just a fun little throwaway joke that I guess is just added in for extra stuff. And I guess for it, like Bender's still showing that he still wants the attention, right? Because they put all
Yeah,
this attention on him.
he's super jealous because Nibbler gets a spoon and Hermie's like, "Oh, look at him!
The
He's even
new
now
spoon.
holding a
Yeah.
spoon." And I
Oh,
love this too because Zoidberg's had a couple good one-liners in this one. It's like, "Oh, he's so talented because Zoidberg can't hold spoons because he's a
that's
lobster."
right. And then even before when Libra bit his ass and they're like all like, oh no, he chipped a fag. He's like, I got a like cracked ass, no one's kissing it. And Zoidberg's
Yeah.
like, I'm coming.
All right, I'm coming.
So he does have a few like his best line I think is still coming up, which we'll talk about. But that
Yes.
those are like some really good lines there. Yeah, Zoidberg has like I'll keep in mind for my most valuable player for that, but it's very, very minor. Um, now Bender also has this desire. He has a lot of like these weird desires that aren't really normal for robots, I guess. But I guess that's what makes him unique. But he also likes to cook, right? He likes to cook. He has all these kinds of things. So Leela has suggested to him like to make a cake for it, and instead of like being this guy who's like I'm not making you a cake, he's going to try to press them the amount to try and get them to be more in love with him rather than with Nibbler. Um, I'm a big fan of this little visual gag of him having the rat poison, and like you think he's going to use it in the cake to poison everybody, but it turns out he's actually trying to get rid of rats. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, he's going to make the cake. Um, he's an incredible. He is actually very very good at everything he does. Right, he gets like the eggs going. He's
He's a
beating
robot.
it. Well, right. He can do all this stuff.
He just
His
can't
contain
taste.
yeah, exactly. His chest container that it's like contains everything ever is like has like an easy bake oven. Little reference there. But unfortunately, as he's finished, Nibbler obviously comes in and
Well, you gotta say what the cake is. Basically, it's like a happy
just a
birthday
giant
nibbler
cake. Yeah,
by Bender. Yeah, like there's the
yeah.
top versus the smallest. Like happy birthday nibbler, and then each one's by me, the magnificent, and then the last big
Bender.
giant piece,
Yeah.
Bender.
Bender. He's like, this will show those idiots who's lovable. Like all he cares about is the attention. And there's like a little version of him, like a little tiny him on top of the cake that's for Nibbler. So in any case, though, Nibbler sees it, still Nibbler eats everything, just devours the cake. Yeah, just eats it up.
Yeah.
Um, Bender loses it. He's out. He's like, okay, that's it. Picks him up, drops him in the toilet, flushes it. I guess Nibbler's squishy enough that he can go down the toilet, no problem.
It's a
And
future toilet. Who knows?
yeah, exactly. Well, we know that it can't suck down robots as easily, right? But anyway,
Well, yeah,
Leela,
that's well because yeah, Bender had to take off all his parts, but his
right,
body still got down there.
that's true, and his head. So yeah, there's enough to say that something's weird about that toilet. But in any case, Leela sees him, witnesses him do this. She freaks out, um, and Bender doesn't care. Bender straight up just doesn't care. He's like, I'm
Yeah, I
happy
love
I did
this
it.
line
It's
too.
yeah,
Bender, how could you do this? Well, first step, I had to lift up the lid. Am I right, fellas?
to lift up the seat. Yeah,
I
right,
had to
because
lift up the
that's
seat.
right. One of those toilets, right? Those old toilets or those normal toilets, I guess I should say. Not a future toilet where it's like just a hole or some kind of portal.
Yeah.
It's a modern toilet.
I
Um,
personally keep my toilet lid down.
yeah, I think most. Hmm, actually, I bet that
Mind you,
would be an
it's like
yeah,
it's the two lids. It's the two lids. It's like the seat and then the lid. So it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah. Well, of course,
a
because like
like a
you lift up the seat for the other stuff, right? So you lift up the lid for the whole thing, the seat for the other stuff, right? And then all
no.
of it goes down. I think that would be. I'm not sure if there would even be that much of a difference. But I know some people are taught keep it up because it's supposed to be aired or whatever. Other people are told
Nope.
to keep it down because it looks
Germs.
more tidier and whatever else. So I'm sure there's an argument to be made there, but which one?
No, keep it closed because germs.
Right. Um,
Maybe it depends on where you live too, because like a place like Australia, the vermin get inside the toilet, and I'm pretty sure you don't want to open up, sit down, and get bitten and by something venomous or not venomous, just
yeah,
bitten in general.
and if you live in a place
Especially
that's
for
also
men, because we have dangly bits.
well, especially if you have uh like if you live in like a tropical environment as well, right? Like insects are very common. So having the water
Yes.
up is gets stagnant and then you have bugs coming right there. That's not great. So you want to keep that closed. So yeah, I think typically it should be closed, but
And
people
more
people
on
think
toilet
about it.
etiquette with
Yeah,
Mitchell and Anthony soon.
exactly. Futurama, why did you do this to us? Why even make this up? Um, but any case, Bender doesn't care, clearly doesn't care. Um, the the whole time, and Leela's absolutely distraught. They have a little funeral for Nibbler in the bathroom as well. Flush a little flower down for him. But the professor mentions that he can have a way for Bender to feel the emotions that Leela feels, because she at least wants him to understand pain, right? Because that's her best friend in the world. That was her thing that she took care of, rescued, and everything, right?
People
So,
love their pets, as
well,
is their right
as they
to.
should, yeah, as they
Yeah,
should. So they have
unless it's a lizard.
Professor installs an empathy chip, that allows them to do
Lizard
this.
owners are weird.
And as they're turning, he's turning with the little gizmo to try and tune it to the correct person.
Oh yeah,
This
I
is
love these
this
jokes.
is
I love
where I
these
think
jokes.
this is the best joke that Zoidberg does in the episode. And it's like, I have this sudden desire to like stuff my face full of mackerel. And
That's
Zoidberg,
me,
of course,
baby.
is a lobster, so he's like, "That's me, baby." Yeah. So I think that was great. Um, then after that is the I feel what is it, like, embarrassed that I'm not as smart as Leela, but I'm relieved that I'm cuter than her. Amy says that's her, but it turns out it's actually Fry.
Yeah, Fry's like, thanks for covering.
Right, right. Small little joke there. I wonder, like,
I,
sure,
you know,
why
I,
not?
I, I think it is actually Amy. It is Amy's, but Fry is just being
Being
Fry,
Fry, yeah, he's
or
like,
or
do
maybe
I feel
it's
like
both
that?
of them,
Could
or
be, yeah,
maybe it's
it's true.
both of
Maybe
them.
both of them are like that. Yeah, they're both they're both embarrassed, but they're both happy they're cuter. Who knows? Um,
Honestly, I think it is Amy's because Fry would be like, I love Leela because he still loves Leela at this point, right?
right. So is Fry secretly covering for Amy to make her feel better?
I don't know,
I
but
don't think he's that smart, but
I think that thought is Amy's thoughts though.
it sounds it,
Tuned to Amy's thoughts at that point.
it sounds a lot like Amy in the future for sure. Despite the fact that Amy is not dumb, like she is a doctoral candidate in a
She's just
as
a
a
ditz. That's
physicist.
all.
She's just ditzy and
She's
clumsy. Yeah,
just ditzy.
yeah. Um, and then we get to actual Leela, obviously, which then goes to like nosy and opinionated, and they're all like, "Yeah, that's definitely Leela." Like,
That's
whatever.
Leela.
And
I'm nosy and opinionated, and I love Nibbler. That's Leela. They make a
and
lot of jokes like that with Leela too.
yeah,
like like a spoiler for another episode when they dress up an orangutan and like look at her hairy
scratching her
knuckles
ass. That
and
comes.
bad posture.
Well, that's
That's
in
Leela. I'm seeing double.
yeah, I'm seeing double. Like it's so yeah, and then Leela's always just like, "Oh, I hate you guys so much."
I
Like
think
even her
that episode's
furry
one of my
knuckles
favorites.
apparently are a thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and
yeah.
they do a basic thing like, "Oh, I'm happy that Bender can finally feel my thing," and then Bender's like, "Haha, I like this feeling," and
Feel the
then
emotions.
yeah,
Happiness. I like this. At least I'm not a jerk like Leela. Sadness. Ooh.
yeah. Well, I think it's like happiness, and then he makes her angry, which then makes him angry, which insults her, that makes her sad, and then it makes him
Yes.
sad,
Sorry. Yes.
and the whole thing is right. But the whole through, and then we actually see this even more when we cut to so Amy tries to cheer Leela up by taking her to what is this, or Ozorgnax's, right? This is the second time we've seen this place. This is the first pub from the original episode where Bender and Fry are hiding from Leela in the first place. So they actually do bring this place back. It's like a dance night or club night kind of thing at the pub. Amy's trying to help her out. Amy's dancing with guys or whatever, and Leela's feeling a lot of these emotions. First of course, because of Nibbler um, being gone. So Bender can feel all these things. So they go through this whole period of it, and I think this is actually quite good. She's sad about
Oh yeah, this is my favorite
Nibbler,
joke here
right?
with Fry. Yep.
Right, sad about Nibbler. So he's like, I miss Nibbler, and Fry's like, really? He's like, no, hell no, like
It's
it's
a
Leela.
stupid chip.
And then Amy's dancing with a guy, and Leela
Just a
gets
guy.
jealous. And then yeah, is this your favorite joke? Yeah, then he's
Then it switches back to Bender. Is like, you think you're so hot, and guys, it's just because you dress trampy. And then Fry's like, but they're just responding to my personality.
yeah, and he slaps him. they're
And then
just
Bender slaps him.
yeah, they're just responding to my personality. And then Amy says that she's gonna leave with this guy, leaving Leela,
No,
to which Leela
no.
pretends
This is another joke. This is Armando, and we're gonna go to the backseat of his car for
for
coffee.
coffee. Yeah, which is
I love
the,
that. The
the
backseat
worst
of his
excuse
car.
ever. But yeah, it's like going to your room to have coffee, right? That makes more sense than the back seat of a car. Yeah, that is the joke there. But of course, Leela is of course faking that she's okay. She like tells him to go away, and then Bender shows her real emotion. I'm so lonely, and then he's gonna eat a whole bucket of ice cream or something. And apparently, they have one spoon,
Yeah,
which makes sense.
spoons in the
Why
foot
would Bender?
powder.
Yeah, why would Bender need food? Why would he need a spoon in the first place? So, in any case, Bender, Bender is well, Bender and Leela, I should say, are both distraught from this, but Bender finally can't really handle it anymore. So he decides to flush himself down the toilet. And this brings
Somehow
us to,
gets his head and his body down there.
yeah,
Legs and arms make sense, but not the head and body.
not right, exactly. Though we never actually, we see the head go down, but we never see the how the body goes down, right?
Yes, I guess, yes.
And I guess this idea comes from like, funny enough, from Fry, who does mention like, oh, like my I can't remember his friend's cousin's caseworker or something. He says like some random amount of people said that alligators can survive down in the sewers. So
It's a
that's this is
widely
what
believed fact. I
fact,
love that line too. It's a
yeah,
widely believed fact.
fact, which is so true these days, huh? Like this modern world about our modern our commonly
Yeah, yeah.
believed
I believe in that. I
facts.
believe in that fact, which is
Yeah,
like
it's
a
like
fact
what?
is a truth or something like that. It's
Yeah,
like
it's like just well, you should just know it, not believe in it, right? Yeah.
yeah,
So Bender gets the idea, flushes himself down. We see pieces of him because he can break himself apart to do this, but it's still kind of weird. Fry witnesses him go down, blames Leela. Leela makes a joke about feeling awful, and Fry calls her out for still feeling bad about doing something because Bender can feel it. And they decide to go after Bender, who went after to find Nibbler. Um, so this next part here. I don't know if you ever watched this. Did you ever watch the PJs?
the what?
That
Sorry,
show, the PJs, the
no.
old TV show. So
Bananas in pajamas. Yeah.
that was another thing. No, this was
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The man cover thing. It
yeah.
looked familiar, but I think it's been referenced lots of times, but I do not remember it.
So back in the day, on early 2000s of Fox, there was a show called the PJs, which it was a another comedy. It was another adult comedy show, but it was like claymation slash like puppetry type of animation style. So it wasn't like a cartoon. And the way that they would end their intro is like the PJs being on the sewer hole, like the manhole cover. So that's I think that's where that reference comes from. I think they also reference Futurama in one of their episodes. So this is
It
that's
first
like
came out in 1999, and Eddie Murphy helped create it. So,
yeah.
and Matt
So it's
Groening apparently. Groening, sorry, Matt Groening.
migrating. Oh, so there you go. So that would make sense why it was they kind of shared some they shared like a reference or two between each other because I think there's a Futurama reference or a Simpsons reference in the PJs. Long time ago though.
Yeah, just did a quick Google of it.
Yeah, so that's a very old reference that many people would not even know. Like I barely remember that show. But
So it
anyway,
got canceled in 2001, but the final two episodes didn't air until 2003. So it is 20 years old at this point.
yeah. So they pop off the sewer manhole cover with all that stuff to pop in, carrying like an inflatable boat because they're going to go through the sewer, obviously looking for everybody. Uh, Fry falls in. Leela goes after him. They're going through and they find Bender. Right, he's putting himself together
Poorly.
poorly. Makes a joke about his
Where's
never
the
showed.
Where's the owner's manual?
Well, he like threw out. I never should have thrown out the owner's
All right, I
manual.
should
So
have
he has
never.
like
Yeah.
his leg is on his arm, and his arm is on his leg part, and his head is like askew.
Crooked. Yeah.
Yeah. So they find him. They put him together. Obviously, they're in the boat looking for Nibbler. Um, and it's one of those things that just go down, and you don't want to touch the sewer water, obviously. So they're trying their best to stay in the boat. They're like, well, it's no use. We're gonna have to go back. Fun little joke of Leela and Bender sharing the thought of like being Fry being an idiot because the only way they can get out is through like a very tiny pipe that I guess even in the future they couldn't do it, right? Not like the toilet. Um, and this is also when we're introduced to, sorry, reintroduced to, because I think the first time we see the mutants are actually in the first episode as well, very briefly.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Sewer
which is
mutants
actually
down
might
there.
be that might actually be a canon issue, right? Because doesn't Leela say before they go into the sewers, like, oh, there's like horrible mutants down there, and Leela says like, oh, that's just a myth. But doesn't she see that?
This I think this episode has a few continuity errors in terms of the overall, but mind you, this is still second season stuff like that,
Sure.
where there is hints earlier with something that could possibly have something to do with Leela. Hint, it does. Um,
It absolutely does. Yeah. Well, and we're going to get to that as well. It's mentioned,
like
or
they do,
not mentioned, but like definitely
they
shown.
obviously do. The writers do think ahead of the show and stuff like that. There is some good continuity in the uh, Futurama universe and stuff like Nibbler being there in the first episode.
Of
So
course. But I'm not wrong though. Like she is there when Fry meets the guy who mutated from his old neighbor, right? Like that's in
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
he was a growth on a mutant, which is I find
Right.
funny.
So maybe you could throw it away like, oh, maybe that was just a one-off guy, and Leela doesn't actually believe there's like a whole um, world or a whole like
Well, it could be one of
town
those
of
things,
mutants
right?
or something.
Like say that someone's never traveled or doesn't know go across the world and stuff like that. When someone says, "Oh yeah, there's still like primitive tribes in the Amazon," no, they don't exist. Like
Right.
there's just people who just aren't knowledgeable to those things because they just never crossed their path or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And it could also be like the fact she doesn't believe that there's actually a society of mutants. Maybe that's what it is. She thinks there
Yeah,
could be mutants, but not like a whole society. But
we'll
any
go with
case,
that one.
the we're introduced to mutant characters who we actually will see in multiple episodes throughout the future. They're actually quite funny. I think the only one I remember being named in there is Dwayne, like the guy who plays the guitar. Um, and he's quite funny. I think he's also the teacher of that town in later episodes. I think we find out. So he's like
Yeah,
their
yeah.
school teacher.
No, I
So
thought
they
it
go
was
to
a three-armed guy.
no, the three armed guy. I think is the mayor.
Their mayor.
The
Yeah.
mayor, I think. Yeah. So
We'll find out. Yeah.
yeah, of course, we'll find out later in the future. So they go there and they're in the mutant village, and the three armed guy, who I believe is their mayor, treats them through it. They have like these little jokes about their aquarium being a bunch of dead fish, and I think there's a dead parrot.
Yeah.
Their library is a shelf full of like old, what is it, pornography, and I don't know this author, Aaron Rind. I don't
Oh, I'm
recognize him.
pretty sure it's some joke about how that guy has lots of books, but he's garbage or something.
Right, or it's just not as good, right? Yeah, some of those, and not alligators, but crocodiles are actually in the sewer. So it's not alligators that can survive; it's only the crocodiles for some reason. Um, but yeah, we get through this. What do you think of the mutant town in general?
I think it was just your basic kind of like I don't know if a village. I was gonna say like apocalyptic, like underground village. Like what was that?
Yeah, apocalyptic.
The
That
city of
sounds right.
Ember, the city of
Yeah,
Ember. If you remember that
sure.
movie, it kind of looked
Okay.
like a not as good version of that.
Well, it had even Fry makes a mention. This is something that never comes up in the show again. Was the oh, you guys worship a nuclear bomb or whatever, or an inactive nuclear bomb, like in their little church or
Warhead,
whatever, or warhead.
Warhead.
And she's like, one of the mutant girls, like she says, like, oh, that's more of a Christmas and Easter thing. Like it's just played off as a joke, but they never actually talk about it again. So that's kind of you're right. It's very apocalyptic. Um, so yeah, I just like the look of it. Like everything looks decayed, everything looks crumpled up. Like it looks very,
It's
this
in the
looked like a
sewers.
slum.
It looks
Yeah,
shitty, so to
right.
speak.
So to speak, exactly. The joke of it, right? I think it's very good. But in any case, yeah, we get back. So they're going there, and then there's a again. I don't know if this is actually ever really seen again in the future, but there's a giant toilet-like structure in the middle of
Yeah,
the
I was
sewer
gonna mention
sewer
that
city.
when it gets brought up.
Yeah, because so this doesn't come up again, does it? The sewer city toilet of the sub
No,
sewers. This never
I'm
gets
trying to
talked about.
think like
Yeah,
spoilers like when because of Leela's parentage. Um,
right.
they don't really go down to the sewers that much. The sewers kind of comes up to us, and we go down to their house. Like there's not really much of the sewers, you know?
They only really, except for the one, I guess, where they become kids and they kind of do that little trip with their racing
Right?
and they go through the
Yeah.
sewers a bit more. But no, it's mostly you're right in Sewer City or in the Mutant Town, whatever it's called. I think that's and also with uh like a little bit of flashbacks, I guess you get with her parents like that at that time. But other than that, yeah, you don't really ever
Eh,
see most of the sewer, right? Um, and then yes, sometimes the mutants will come up, and they will kind of come up later in the future too. So yeah, I like I like that. But the yeah that toilet never really see it again. But it apparently heads to the sub sewer, which they also make like a reference, like oh maybe there's sub mutants sub mutants down there, and that's a suburban legend, the whole thing. But the big thing is that they have a fear of El Chupanibre, which Actually, you know what? I did not look. I think it actually means something. Do you know what this means? El Chupa Libre.
Nope. Well, I thought it was going to be like a playoff of El Chupacabra, but like
It is, but I think it
it's
actually
like
still has a meaning.
it's probably like
Yeah,
sewer or something like that. It probably means like sewers or
yeah,
some.
sewer monster or something because it is like close to the El Chupacabra, right? So the El Chupa Libre, which at first, right, everyone's like, oh, so El Chupa Libre, and then the was it Dwayne? He plays the guitar and he tells the little story as like a little mythos. And he's like, yeah, it'll eat you, it'll eat half your alligator, and makes the correction about
Crocodile.
crocodile. And while he's doing this, we get a little vision, a little pan out of all these mutants coming around to listen to his song. And this is where we get that small, tiny little glimpse of two
Yes,
one-eyed people that
I was
could,
also going to mention
right? Yeah,
something about this too.
mm,
So this is an animation technique as well.
yeah,
Um, when you have a group of people doing something at the same time, like say they all jump onto screen, onto screen, like Power Rangers or like an anime where they all jump on the screen at the same time. There's
okay.
always going to be one that's early and one that's late. So it'll be like one, four, and then the last one. So that's kind of what this is. Like everyone's kind of already gathered in, and just to show that people were still walking, Leela's parents walking, and then there's a third guy at the bottom to make it
Oh, kind of
feel
like
like
it's
it
a
is. Yeah.
continuous thing that it's
Yeah, yeah.
the
Rather
illusion.
than animate the
Oh,
one, two, three, four, five, six, like the 20
oh, of
people that are there,
course, right.
you draw 16 of them, and you have two come in, and then another one comes in later after
Uh,
that. So it's an
Animation
asymmetry kind of
techniques.
thing.
Cool.
Yeah,
That's a fun little thing. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked up on that because to me, yeah, it seems like they're all just coming together. But that's the illusion, right? But yeah, those two
yeah,
people,
yeah. It's the illusion.
yeah, seeing yeah, Lila's parents, right? Because we know that, but they are the only one-eyed creatures that are kind of in that vicinity, except for Lila. But then after that, I'm pretty sure we actually don't see them when they're running away from the chance of running into El Chupa Libre. We don't actually see them again until the reveal. But yeah, when they do this and they hear about this song, Leela blurts out like this is like it sounds a lot like Nibbler, to which they think it's actually Nibbler. And when they try and trap El Chupa Libre with using Leela as like the virgin victim or whatever. You and I talked about this with it's an old technology because they say like, oh yeah, I'm the virgin, and they're like, oh good job, nice try, Leela, but we've all seen Zach Brannigan's like web page or something, which was something like before. If it was made in modern day, it would be like we've all seen his Instagram page, we've all seen his Facebook page, we've all seen like something about this, right?
Yeah,
It's no
it was
longer
web page. They said web page. So basically, like Wikipedia existed, I guess, and he updated it or something.
what's his web page, but I think they also used it for like people made their own like little websites back then too. So I
Yeah,
maybe
because
it could have been
this
like that.
came out. The original air date for this was
2000.
1999.
Was it still nine for this episode?
According to Wikipedia, this came out November 1st, 1999.
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, that makes
Original
sense.
air date.
That makes sense. Yeah, because that would have been the beginning of season two, which is where we are with this. Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. Um, with that, yeah, they use Leela as bait, and Nibbler does show up. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we found El Chupa Libre," and it turns out no, El Chupa Libre is actually like a monster. Which how would you describe this monster? Kind of
Alligatory.
alligator-ish, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
crocodile-ish. Yeah. So he's a big monster. We never see him again. Um, but for reason, I
Uh,
guess.
nope. I no. I thought he was in a title or something like that of one of the movies, but that was a different thing. Very similar, but very different.
You're thinking of and introducing this guy to the first
Yeah,
movie,
that
right? Yeah,
guy.
that's what
Yeah,
you're thinking. I
which
thought
I
that
think is
too, and I'm like, no, it's a
the
different guy.
orange version. It's the orange version of this guy.
Yeah, and his eyes, I think, are slightly different or something. Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I was like, no, that's not right. So, anyways, to beat this guy, to beat El Chupanibre, because he's just a monster. Leela has to start thinking about herself, and she has to become selfish in order to get Bender to stop being afraid of El Chupanibre, because Bender's the only one that can help them. I think Fry gets caught in the trap because
Right. Yeah, he
it's
goes to
Fry.
help, but he gets stuck in the rope trap and the
Yeah.
help.
And then Leela's still tied up because she was used as bait, and then Bender's the only one that can free them. And this is, of course, the last scene where Bender's arms come off, but they're able to move by themselves, and they beat they beat El Chupanibre. He uses his body to push him into the sewer. The arm flushes the giant toilet sewer thing. and he disappears into the subsewer. We never see him again. Um, Fitting, I guess. It'd be interesting to see in the future if they ever think of bringing that character back. I doubt they will. It's not even really a character. But yeah, that's about it. So they get Nibbler back. They return to Planet Express. The professor says, like, I guess you've learned your lesson. We can take off your little empathy chip thing. It turns out he thinks it's not working at all. So therefore, is it actually Bender who learned something? But nope, triple capacity. Bender needed it. And Bender leaves. Leela then says, like, oh, he doesn't learn anything from me, but I learned something from
I
him. And
learned
she
something. Yeah.
leaves and she's like, you're a
So
so long,
long,
jerkwads. And everyone's like, oh, so long, I guess. Yeah. So and that's our episode there. So I second that emotion. Um, I think this is actually quite a solid episode. I thoroughly enjoyed this episode.
Solid episode. It's not in my top half, I would say, but
No, not my top 10, but
still
still great for season
still
two, I
good.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everything's there. Oh, what for you then? Your favorite scenes, funny moments,
Oh,
MVP.
it's the Zoidberg stuff.
Is it?
Like
So
I
yours
need an ass that needs kissing. All right, I'm coming.
so Zoidberg's actually
I'm thinking
your
of mackerel.
MVP,
I'm
yeah.
picking up mackerel. That's me, baby.
Maybe.
And what was the other one? I had another one.
Um the one that you brought up with the mackerel one. Oh, he's so talented with his
Oh
claws, right?
right,
Because he
yeah.
holds
Look
a
at
spoon.
Nibbler
Yeah.
holding a spoon. Oh my gosh, he's so talented.
Um, man, yeah, like Zoidberg has some funny scenes in there, but no, I think I'll probably go with Bender on this one. I think he's probably my MVP, despite being like the main character of it. But I think he has the best scenes for me. I think they were the funniest, like the rat poison scene
Yeah,
where he's like,
that one's pretty good.
and it turns out he's actually trying to kill rats. I thought that was funny. Um, his little whistles every time he's like trying to get them to pay attention to him.
I can't whistle.
Oh no,
A robot can whistle. Imaginary robot can whistle, but I can't
it's hard
whistle.
to. I can't do that tune as well as I think DiMaggio can actually whistle, can't he? He can actually. That's actually him, not just some kind of thing that they do.
Probably,
I think it's actually him.
probably.
If
Mhm.
not, we're giving him credit, but that's okay. I'm sure he can, or at least a little bit. Um, but yeah, I guess that's it. So that's it for I second that emotion of episode 5 of season 2 for what we know. And then of course we will come back for the return of Brannigan with Brannigan Begin Again.
Zap Brannigan, the very
Brannigan.
same Zap Brannigan.
So in any case, thanks again for joining me, Mitchell, and take care. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, it was good doing this one with you. Until next time.